There we go. Yeah, did you invite Mark Petrikowski?
I did.
Okay.
And a few others.
Okay.
Let's see if we can do this. Yeah. If I invite an entire circle, I'm curious what that does.
Okay. Nick, you're muted.
I'm aware. I've got things set up funny right now. Hang on.
Sorry.
You're coming through pretty clear right now.
Yeah, that's because for some reason I'm using the microphone on my laptop, so I have to lean forward like this every time I talk into it.
Oh.
What operating system are you running?
Windows, but it's worked fine with Windows a million times before. It's this crappy little USB dongle that I bought to adapt it. Am I still quiet?
Yeah, kinda.
Jeez. Whatever. So, well, earlier today. Oh well. Anyways, I don't remember when the last one was. Last one of these was, but I'm here at 2 weeks ago. So I've already told all of you that I'm here at Emory and Rice University and all that.
I'm not sure if you told us at the Hangout or not.
I may have skipped
but
it.
I had noticed that in something else you had posted.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm here at Rice University doing a Emory fellowship with Jordan Miller in his shiny lab full of 3D printers and scary cancer research, but mostly printers.
How's that volume-wise for the rest of you guys?
It's still.
Oh right. You should Hey, you've got.
I have the volume control working now.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You should be able to crank me up.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So is that louder for you guys as well, or just for me?
Testing, testing.
It's better.
Cool. So, anyways, I should also just enunciate a bit, huh? Just don't want to bother my little roommates. Anyways, we've been doing a lot of stuff with flexi.
Whoa.
Now we lost your audio, Nick.
Yeah, we would all now. You can't hear us either.
His video is frozen.
You're telling me it was the mic.
Now it sounds like the mic, yeah.
That's so bizarre.
That is kind of weird.
Well, anyways. Where was I? So we've been doing a lot of interesting stuff with flexible joints. We still need to get some harder materials that are coming in the mail, but then it looks like it'll be pretty cool. I wish I was at my lab when I had this call. I have a that design I posted a while ago that's got all of the metacarpal bones, so it's got that motion and all of the motions that a thumb is supposed to have. I've built it, but it's too flexible right now with the soft material. So I'll have a more interesting version of that, like Friday, I think, when the new stuff comes.
I thought that the timing of the guy in India who started posting all the pictures of his hands showing what the different motions are, I thought that was timely given what you've been working on lately.
Yeah, that's one thing. So I'm really excited about that hand if I can like get it to work well mechanically, because then it's all just software to do all of these really wonderful grips that we can't currently do.
Right.
Like all sorts of precise stuff. And I'll have some little servos.
Sorry, you should talk with that hand surgeon guy. I'm sure. Well, you probably already read all of his posts, huh?
I actually didn't. No, I need to look through it all.
Yeah, because he put a lot of good information about all that kind of stuff.
Right, about how hands work.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been meaning to read a little bit more about that. The other thing I've been doing here primarily, it's that and working with the Shriners Hospital down the street to make a prosthetic for these little kids that have. So they've got the 2 and 3 metacarpal bones. So this bone right here, and this bone right here, and then 3 of the 4 have these 2 fingers and nothing else, and then the last little guy has just this finger, and that's on both hands for all of them. So my general scheme for all of that is to build a I'll talk about how to mount it in a bit, but basically just to build something that wraps around their existing hand and keeps that existing finger fully in use and keeps as much of that existing palm in use as possible, because the sensory feedback in that stuff is just so much more useful than anything we could replace them with. And so I'm hoping to give them a thumb that they can oppose, particularly the little guy that only has 1 finger. Giving him anything to oppose with will be a huge upgrade in functionality for him. And then just so they can grip larger objects, I'm going to give them 1 or 2 just like normal fingers off the other side. The little guys, the guys that have 2, they're all little. They're like 6. The guys that have, or 2 guys and a girl, I think, that have 2 fingers are actually like surprisingly dexterous, I guess, with it. They'll hold stuff like this really successfully, and like they've clearly developed this lateral MCP motion a lot more than the normal person.
It's a lot of what I do is I'm not just grabbing. It's not just the sideways motion.
Yeah, it's scissors and stuff like that.
Well, it's not just the scissoring. It's the index finger goes forward, and the other finger goes straight out, and that gives you a much wider expanse for the gripping. I'm pressing the front side of the middle finger against the back side of my.
Yeah, it's weird watching them use their little fingers. It's very claw-like, and that sounds like a bad thing to say, but it's kind of impressive, really. So my scheme for them, for now, because I'd like to not have to like go past their wrist to mount things, is we've got scans of all their hands. So my scheme is to make a shell that wraps about 2/3 of the way around their little partial palms, and have that be about 5 millimeters too big on every side, and then print a positive copy of their hand, plug that in to that shell, and fill the space between them with dragon skin or some other silicone compound.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, sure.
How is that dragon skin going to be on their skin? Isn't that going to be? It's so non-porous. Is that going to be really sweaty?
Non-porous. They really need to wear a sock or a stocking to go with it.
Right. So, okay. Thank you. That's all.
It is apparently like once it's cured, supposedly biocompatible and non-harmful to leave touching you for a long period of time, aside from the obvious problems with sweat.
Right. Yeah, as long as you have the sock, you're good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially I'm hoping to have a sort of almost a suction fit, but more of just a tight fit with silicone all around it.
Right.
And I'm hoping that'll be firm enough that we can just mount to their metacarpal bones, more or less, so that they can keep their very obviously useful wrist motion.
Are you, with this design, are you still planning on using like MyoElectric sensors for controlling the? This is just mechanical.
The little supplementary fingers design, I'm thinking we're going to power off of just a professionally made shoulder harness, because I mean they've already been gripping things for a long time, so adding this motion to gripping would probably slow them down a bunch.
Right.
And they've got so much dexterity in their existing fingers. If we can just give them a convenient way to close that thumb, I think they'll be able to do a lot of precision grips that we can't really do with a wrist or with a wrist-driven one, essentially.
And you don't want to use the elbow action for that?
No, I think the elbow is worse than the wrist in terms of body mechanics, sort of.
Right. Yeah, because you have to bend your arm to bend your elbow to do anything, and that makes it really inconvenient.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I think Nathan Ramsey essentially decided that elbow-driven stuff wasn't going to work on a reasonable basis. And I really do think that shoulder harnesses are a way better option. I mean, they've been in use for decades and decades with pretty solid success. And
is there any wisdom? I know they've been using adhesive on the shoulder thing. Is there any wisdom to making a connection on the opposite side of the shoulder, like a little harness, a harness for both shoulders?
Yeah,
so
harnesses. Yeah, so that's an option. So you're
so
talking about the difference.
The necessity for an adhesive.
Yeah, the adhesives aren't really necessary. I'm not sure why that was the first, like, that also scared me off of shoulder stuff for a while, because when it was first brought up, everyone was talking about these adhesive pads, and I was like, that looks so not fun to wear.
Yeah, that doesn't look like fun at all.
But Shriners had this big Santa bag of professional prosthetics, unpowered prosthetics, and they had a bunch of shoulder-powered ones in there. And the difference you're talking about is, I think, the difference between, they call it a 9 harness, where it goes around the opposite shoulder and then just sort of comes down over here, and it goes up the other side. And a figure 8 harness where it goes over both shoulders, and it's the
width of your shoulders.
Both moving forwards, essentially.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
They're not so much both moving. It's opposition from them instead of from the side of your ribs.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to try on that method of fitting like next week. That's where I'm hoping to get to. It kind of depends on the availability of the kids, but their family seems pretty excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about Shriner kids is often they'll be staying at the hospital.
Yeah, these guys aren't, but...
Oh, okay. They just live nearby.
Yeah. Well, they live in Houston.
Can I ask you, does the Shriners offer you any compensation, Nick, at all?
No, but I have a stipend through Rice University for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you ask? Just curiosity?
Oh, I was just curious if they offered any compensation at all for your time.
Yeah.
No reason.
No, they're all non-profit, I guess. They do all of their services for free.
Right.
They use the circus to earn the money to handle everything else. They also do golf tournaments and a bunch of other things to earn money, like pledge drives for celebrities to play golf. When I was in the Shriners hospitals, I met several celebrities because of golf tournaments, and went to several circuses.
So, if I can take a moment to pick Jeremy's brain for knowledge, maybe. It's still there?
I'm here. Yep.
Yep. So, that flexi-hand design, it's pretty analogous to a real hand in that you've got your rigid parts and all that, but they're not actually attached. They can be pulled on at will. And so when I handed this thing to the doctors from Shriners, they right away said, "Oh, look, there's ligaments and then tendons as well," which is kind of how I'm looking at it.
Sorry, I didn't catch the first part. Which one are you talking about? The flexi hand too?
I'm talking about the flexi hand that I drew up, but essentially any flexi hand, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And they were saying that if we're following along the biomimicry path, something that we really want to do is make sure all of the load is going through the tendons and not our ligaments. So when we've got like this hook grasp, for example, where we're pulling down on the fingers, we don't want the load to be going through the flexi joint, is their point.
Right.
Well, what I thought of
that,
and I may be totally wrong, because I thought of that too, and I was thinking that the cables the cables are going to be constantly pulling the fingers together.
Yeah, that was exactly their point, and that's what it does on my current design. But the issue is, I completely forget why this was relevant to you specifically, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, where was I? Oh, so right now with the very flexible dragon skin, the issue is that there isn't really a fixed. Well, there is an axis that each joint rotates around, but it's just the point of contact between the two, essentially, bones, the two printed finger pieces. So what ends up happening is when it's fully contracted, the point of contact is right next to the ligament, the string, so it has very little torque and it's quite easy to pull back up. As it opens, it gets back to having some resistance, but it's not really enough. I think that the stiffer material should help with that because the distal pieces are essentially scooching down a bit relative to the proximal pieces.
And what are you using for the flexible material?
Dragon Skin 30. It's a smooth-on product. Dragon Skin. It's
there's an idea.
30, which is quite soft. It's a silicone rubber, is what it is. Platinum cured silicone rubber.
So interestingly enough, just last night I got back to doing a little testing with NinjaFlex, and I did get that working. So I've kind of figured out the settings and made a little extruder mod. So I think I can do NinjaFlex somewhat reliably now. Would it be helpful to print some of those hinge pieces in NinjaFlex for you?
Potentially. I mean, there's tons of flexible filaments that we haven't tried yet. I'm pretty sure the Durometer 60 stuff I have coming will work, and if not, I've also got some 85 that's just slightly harder to use.
Gotcha.
I actually prefer casted stuff to flexible printed materials because it's kind of more accessible in a way. I mean, yeah, you have to mix it and all of that, which sucks, but if you can print PLA, you can print the molds for these things. And if you have a cup and a stick, you can mix them. Whereas NinjaFlex and all of those are restricted to good extruders, essentially.
Sure. Have you, or I'm sure it's pretty straightforward, but have you or anyone else done any kind of a basic tutorial, like a little video or anything, showing how to do the molded flexible stuff?
I have not yet, because I've been kind of figuring out whether they're worthwhile still.
Yeah, sure. When you get to it, that would be handy. That's the kind of thing that, my wife and I do this together, and she would handle that part of it. She's a lot craftier than I am, so I would print the mold up, and she'd be happy to work on that side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big aspect of what.
On that note, if you want, just for your development purposes, if you wanted to, I can get any thickness, 60 durometer, any durometer, and just sheet urethane, and I can get these water jetted for you. I know you don't like any custom stuff, but just for development, I'd be glad to take care of that for you.
Actually,
urethane water jet's beautiful.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to get some 80 durometer urethane and try that, because the issue we're having with that stuff is it is in love with printed parts. We try to cast it, and it's not exactly easy to get out, and then we're like, well, let's try cutting it out with a Dremel tool, and we get to the point where we just have a sheet of urethane and then a sheet of PLA up against each other, and these sheets are like this big, they're tiny, and we can't pull them apart. It's really, really stuck. So we have some demolding agent coming that might help, but Yeah, I'll talk to you after about trying.
Are you using any mold
idea.
release on that? Are you using
No,
any
we
mold
didn't have
release
any.
on
We
that?
have it in the mail now. It
Okay.
should be here Friday.
Okay. Well, if you decide you want me to get some stuff order jaded for you, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll message you after this. I think I do. What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm not too confident in urethane because it's a lot easier to tear than some of the other materials, but that hydrometer will be nice.
Oh,
to
I don't
test
know. I might
anyways,
disagree with
even
you.
if
I've been
screwing in
using
leftovers.
urethane in dyes for a long time, and it is extremely durable. The stuff I use.
Maybe we've been mixing it wrong or
It's just
something.
a pure urethane sheet. I can get it any hydrometer you want, and I defy you to take two pair of pliers and pull it apart.
Does it come like 8 millimeter thick or so? Really more like 10?
Yes, I can get any thickness you want.
Awesome, because I'd like to keep the little dog bone shape I've been using, and you can't really cut that out of a thin flat sheet.
Right. That's what I was talking about, the dog bones. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, let's
just send
try
me
that.
a drawing anytime. You got my emails on my profile. Just send me a drawing, and I'll make you any sizes, any amount you want.
Sure. Okay. So that'll be fun to try. There's also the question of restricting the lateral movement of these flexible joints. So Dale printed some that just have shields on the outside that works quite well, but the nasty side of that is that you have to shove the flexi joint like down into its little slot then, which is doable with the Durometer 30 stuff, but would probably be super hard with the 60 or the 85.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you did counteracting, like you have a finger joint, you have a shield on the side, you have a shield coming from the top on one side and from the bottom on the other, so that you can still slide it together, but you still get the shield on both sides.
That is a very simple solution. Yeah, definitely. I'll write that down. Write that down. I was trying to sort of understand how our hands do that a bit more, because I mean, your hand joints don't bend like that at all. They don't have any give unless you break them. Yeah. I mean, the MCP joint does, but that's by design. But this joint here and this joint here don't. So I was I've been kind of wishing I had like those bioclass skeletons so that I could mess with, preferably with all of the ligaments and tendons replicated as well.
Good luck making that request.
It'd be really helpful, to understand how
knocking at your door.
how biology does all this. No, I mean a model, not a real one.
Well, doesn't your university have some kind of grant funding or something they could do with that?
Actually, I wonder if I could just go look at a cadaver.
You probably could.
This place is so creepy. I was in the lab the other day and I looked to my side and I see an anesthesia machine and I'm like, Harrison, why do we have an anesthesia machine? Don't say mice. It's for the mice. Look, there's a little box. And there's this little mouse-sized glass box that they anesthetize them in. And they put them in this light-type box with fluorescent stuff inside of them to look at their insides. It's really creepy. They're also injecting them with cancer and stuff. This is like a running joke at this lab that the bio people are really creepy because they're like 2 steps away from making zombie mice.
Yep.
I just posted a link to Amazon skeleton hands. I don't know if that would help or not. They look like they're casted.
Yeah, okay, I was just writing down what I needed to do. Amazon hands. Look at that. Oh.
And there's another one.
Marginally useful, actually. 26
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, for $26, it's worth looking at. I did a search on Amazon for skeleton hand, and you get a lot of like decorations and stuff like that. But you get a few like that one. There's another one that's from Lindbergh Skeletal Hand. There's a medical and anatomical hand. Several different types of hands, but that search was pretty interesting. Let me post the actual link to the search. But yeah, at $26, that.
Huh?
What's that?
Oh, I need permission to write to the notes document.
Oh, sorry. Let me do that real quick. I think I did anyone can read. I need to make it anyone can write. Let me change my sharing settings. Anyone? Yeah, I've got it can view. Let me make it can edit. Done. Okay, try it now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I've been thinking about something from like our last hangout, where you were showing us the variable grip for the fingers with the different sleds and the different pulls on the fingers in different ways.
Yep.
I've been noticing that most of our hand designs, like the Cyborg Beast and the Talon, all have the fingers are all the same length. Each joint is the same length as each joint.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking that that was by design, because that made the motion curl all the fingers together at the same rate. I'm wondering if your variable tendon system would allow for different sized fingers more effectively.
It really wouldn't. That system is going to be ugly if it works. Because what's probably going to happen is the hand will close like this.
Right, because the sides close first.
Well, not even that, just because if one of them's got a bit more friction than the others, it'll close first, you know?
Right.
The sides do close first because without any load on them, they've got the same amount of friction, but like if one of the actual fingers happens to be a bit sticky, it'll close last.
Right. Another thing is strength will shift to the less resisted finger. So when you're grabbing something, most of your squeeze strength is going to be on the finger that doesn't have something resisting against it.
Yes, that's true. So while you're grabbing, you won't have a strong grip, but then once you finish closing, you will.
I still think it's a useful idea. I still think
I'm very curious to see whether it turns out to be useful.
Yeah, and we may need to do some thinking about different ways to vary that idea, different way to make sure that the flexion is a little bit more distributed.
Yeah. At the very least, what we could do is we could just do 2 sleds for the thumb and fingers, and that would still be a pretty significant improvement, I think.
I think another thing, if you just a couple of sleds for each side of the fingers, like 2 sleds in the finger pull, one, like 3 sleds total, 1 for the thumb and 1 for index and middle, 1 for ring and pinky.
If I was going to do that, I would probably do thumb, pointer, other 3, because one of the nice side effects of that design is that you can lock one of the sleds, and then you just don't put any power into that one. So if I had sled, and sled for these 3, I could just lock this sled. Sorry, I always forget the camera's in front of me. I could just lock this sled and then drive these 2 fingers in a pinching motion, which is a very nice side effect.
So yeah, we can read what you're saying, Mark.
Wait, so can Mark also hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got himself muted, but he's in the call.
Okay, I'm not sure. He says I can't have my sound on, but whatever.
You can't have the sound on, so he's just here listening, and he'll be typing if he has anything to contribute.
Okay.
I'll ask that question directly.
Yeah, that was a bit silly. What on earth was I talking about?
We were talking about sleds and
Oh,
finger
yeah, we
grips,
can
I
lock
think.
them, which is a nice side effect. If we do
Yeah.
only 2, the sleds become less necessary again, I'd say. We could kind of just have a, yeah, let's see. We could kind of just have
you can't hear us.
a loop running from the tip of the thumb around something on the anchor and then to all of the other strings. And that would be to the same effect as having 2 sleds. But anyways, not important. I can draw that later. It probably didn't make sense when I said it.
No, I think I'm getting a...
Yeah.
But pictures are always good.
That is actually a good idea. I'm going to draw that and put it on my desktop so I don't forget it in the morning. Yeah. So that'll be fun. What other mad schemes have we got going here? So on the topic of the whole sled thing, Yasha and John and all of them are apparently going to try it. I haven't gotten around to trying it because it's easy to test for whoever has a hand laying around, and I don't have a standard hand laying around. I just have a bunch of wonky new ones. Okay.
I've almost got 3D printers built, and I tested, I was able to print a cube last night. I had it, here it is. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. It's not a cube, so I've got some calibration to do.
Cool.
But I might be able to start building hands to play with to test out parts again.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
That's too big.
Well, I'm just going to put my notes in the sidebar chat because somehow it's still not letting me do anything.
Yeah. Oh, try reloading the page.
I did. I'll try it again.
Let me check if... Anyone who has the link can edit. I wonder if it...
There it is. Never mind.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I see you now. Anonymous chinchilla.
Mine says axolotl or axolotl.
Oh, axolotl.
What is that?
Aztec thing. Oh, Aztec name for a jaguar. That's it. Aztec name for a jaguar.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
There's a ugly little sketch, which I guess I can screen share.
There's also a Mexican salamander or walking fish that is called an axolotl.
Oh.
AXOLOTL.
There we go.
Yeah, this thing looks a little bit more like a lizard.
Yeah.
Anyways,
they're cute.
So the ugly little sketch I just drew up there is my rough idea of how to do that two-sided drive I was talking about. So basically you have one cable that is looped around an anchor on your gauntlet, and one side of it drives the 4 regular fingers and the other side drives the thumb.
Right.
Yeah. So that would be an interesting thing to test. Maybe I'll pop it out tomorrow. Ooh, wow. I'm much brighter when I have a white screen in front of me.
I ended up having to steal a lamp from a sibling in order to have enough light in this room.
Yeah. The whole lab has these beautiful big windows to the outdoors all over it, which has the nasty side effect of making me look all dark and cave-like whenever I'm on a hangout in there. Oh well.
You look fine.
I'm not in the lab right now.
Oh.
Yeah. No, this is my bedroom. Let's see. So yeah, that's definitely a productive outcome from this little hangout. Who's printing a ton of hand parts? Oh, Jeremy.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Any other topics?
I didn't have a lot. Actually, I guess my list was a long list, but we pretty much talked about them all because they were all related to things you're doing.
Hey, Jeremy, you should show us one of your hands you're working on.
Well, there's one of them going on the screen share right now. That's actually not one for a recipient. That's just a test of the new flexy-hand 2.
Cool.
Oh.
Okay.
The other ones are all sitting around in parts and various stages of assembly. Alina's working on assembly, so I don't really have any photos or video to show on those yet, but I will. I'll share those all.
Uh-huh.
What's the current status of... Wow, that's not how I should start that. How many hand donations have you had through 3D Universe?
Not too many, not as many as I would like, but we're starting to build them up. I'm going to pull it up here so I can tell you exactly. I believe we've got 5 or 6 of them available right now, and we've already given out 3 or 4. So it's not like I've had, dozens of them, but they seem to be picking up a little bit.
That's good.
It'll take a
So
little while, I guess,
some
for the word to get out.
available if anybody is fabricating hands. I do have some that are available to be allocated.
Oh, cool. So that was an advertisement to anybody watching this. If you would like to help out financially, if you would like to donate, a really good thing to do is to do the donation on 3D Universe for a hand kit.
Cost $35.
Thanks, Lydia. Let's see.
Surely there is more that I've been doing.
Yeah, yeah, I really like the flexi hand too. I like the design. I like the how much like a real hand it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are going to like that, and some people seem to prefer the other more, kind of robotic-looking ones. I think it's going to be a matter of personal preference.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like we currently have 6 of the donate kits available to allocate for fabricators. So
Nice.
if anyone out there is watching and is fabricating free devices for people, reach out to me.
That's as of July 7th.
I just had something. Oh. There's lots of, small media coverage of, well, not all small, media coverage of Amory and then by proxy e-NABLE going on, which is nice.
Very cool.
Hopefully we'll have a few more people pop up in the Houston area that need hands because of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I told Catherine that if she wanted to help out with the newsletter, she was totally welcome to do that. So maybe I could talk to her about being one of the ones that keeps track of all this media coverage.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man, I should have been doing that. Trying to remember who I've talked to. Yep. I do believe that's all I have to report.
Oh, something I thought of that isn't related to R&D, but if anybody sees resources being posted in the e-NABLE group on Google+, and they think that it might be a good thing for the Rex team to post in their efforts, just hashtag Rex, R-E-X, capitalized, in the comments, and then that will tag it, and then they'll be able to go through those tagged things and decide which ones should be in the on the website or not.
What does REX stand for?
I don't know. Ask Andrea.
What do they do then?
Oh, what do they do? They are the ones that are trying to make it easier for us to find resources rather than having it as it is in our group, where it's basically like a stack of papers where you get something and it just keeps getting buried underneath other things. The Rex team has been working on e-NABLE.org, enablingthefuture.org, sorry. And so they're the ones that are kind of trying to make it easier for people to find resources, and they have a frequently asked questions on there now and all that kind of thing.
Cool. Yeah.
Resource exploration, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to have to drop off here to get back to some other things. Anyone need anything else?
I think we're good. I don't think there was a lot that needed to be covered in this meeting, and I think we actually covered a lot, or rather, Nick covered a lot.
I'm full time now. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are good.
Bye.
Talk to you later, Jeremy.
Cool. See you, everybody.
All right, see ya. And I will grab the sidebar and post it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast.